Good morning, good day to all of you. Magandang Sabado, Pilipinas. This is your host, Ado Paglinaw, and welcome you to our program, Koffee, Klatch, here on your channel, Sovereign PH TV 911, serving our great community. Coffee Klatch, where the issues are always brought to you hot and steaming, mixed with your brew of favorite coffee and the latest issues to help improve the lives of Filipinos, but bringing them the latest, delivering to you nothing but the truth. Folks, our co-host, Jig Paras, has pressing issues to attend, so bear with me, and my co-host, Z.
Thank you, Ado. Good morning to everybody. Please join us this Saturday Coffee Talk and exchange and share views with us. We do encourage you all to send in your comments and reactions on our social media platforms below.
Yeah, and in the interest of time, let me go straight to the interview kasi medyo busy ang ating guest for today. And maybe later, we can go to the small talk, di ba?
Yeah, for sure, because it is definitely going to be a fruitful discussion with our guest for today, because for the past week, our discussion was COVID-19 and the pandemic, while Metro Manila Mayor unanimously decided a stay in the stricter general community quarantine status for the whole NCR plus. But the president said that we are definitely going to have to make more of an effort to stay disciplined. We need to see a more truly disciplined community, follow health protocol, and we're going to be shifting to a more interesting topic of the hour.
Our guest is a face to watch out for in big TV network news hour, and surely was a voice to listen to, having anchored several business programs sa channels 5 and 7. 3 presidents could not get enough of him, that he worked in the media affairs under the administration of Cory Aquino, Eddie Ramos, and Erap Estrada. In fact, he was Erap's press secretary. As a media personality, his program, Iyo ang Katarungan, a legal public service program, earned for him, a special award for community services. Last December, he was re-elected as a member of the Board of Governors of the Manila Overseas Press Club and reappointed as MOPC spokesperson.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, his credentials are very impressive indeed. Our guest this Saturday is the Managing Director for Government and Public Affairs of the Metro Pacific Investments Corporation, Managing Director of the MVP Group of Company Bureau, or Media Bureau, COO of Silangan Mindanao Mining, and SVP for Public Affairs of Philex Mining. So it might take the whole program to read his credentials, but actually we're here, and of course his academic background is so awesome. So I think we should leave it at that. And he also is maintaining a regular Tuesday column at the Daily Philippine Star. This Mike is really all over town. Let's welcome to join us for coffee, attorney Mike Toledo.
Welcome, Mike. Oh, ang ganda ng ang ganda ng
Magandang umaga sa inyo lahat. Good morning,
Yeah.
Ado. Good morning, Z, and to all your listeners.
Z.
Thank you so much for having me, and to our dear friend Congressman Paras. No, magandang umaga, Jing.
Yeah, I'll shoot straight to the point. Meron tayo dito kasi mga nagtatanong dahil medyo mainit na naman kung regarding our potential water sources. Ano raw ba? May possibility. Ano bang status ngayon ito? Do we have new and modern facilities to support our community water needs, Mike? Sa tubig?
Medyo naputol-putol tayo para may narinig ako. Okay. Well, tungkol sa tubig, sinabi naman po ng NWSS at pati na rin po kami na we're making sure, no, na at the height of summer, lalo na ngayon na tag-init, na hindi po magkakaroon ng problema sa pag-supply ng tubig. Nagtayo na rin po kami ng ilang mga treatment plants, no? Mga treatment plants sa Laguna. Meron kami Putatan 1, Putatan 2 at meron pa kami tinatayong isa pang bago. Dahil yan ay isa sa mga kailangan nating ilagay para siguraduhin na hindi na mabibitin ang supply ng tubig ng treated water, no? Ang tubig na yun ay galing sa Laguna de Bay. Sa ngayon kasi, lahat ng tubig ng Metro Manila, sadly, no, 97% of the water supply of Metro Manila, yung tubig come from sa ano tawag dito? San Roque Dam. At kaya mahirap nang mag-depend sa isang source ng tubig. Kaya nga na talagang importante at ginagawa naman po ito ng administrasyon ni President Duterte na hanap sila ng ibang water source. Kagaya ng, alam ko,
sa issue ng water concession, nagkaroon ng konting sigalot dito, di ba? Sa Manila at sa Manila Water. And President Duterte threatened to cancel some of their concession and make them pay or refund the money they collected from consumers. Wala nang naging follow-up dito. The last time that I heard was that medyo na areglo na daw yung mga terms and conditions na ticklish sa dating contract. Were they able to settle this issue and how, Mike?
magandang tanong yan. That's a very good question. And as far as Manila Water is concerned, because alam nyo, there are two concessionaires here for the west and the east side of the metropolis. And for Manila Water, I understand that they've already entered into a new revised concession agreement, which is good. That's definitely a good start. And with respect to us, Maynila, ay nag-meeting na po kami sa miyembro ng Water Review Concession Committee at ang pagkaintindi ko ay patapos na rin po yan at very soon magkakaroon nilin tayo ng bagong revised concession agreement. When we have that in place, it would be very good for everyone, for government, and most especially for the consumers, because a new revised concession agreement will allow now both concessionaires, Manila Water and Manila, to continue with their ongoing expansion programs, to continue with their ongoing construction of water treatment plants, as well as the construction and the operation of their sewage treatment plants. So maganda pong development yan. That's a very good development, and if I'm not mistaken, the agreement between Maynilad will come out soon.
Yan, abangan natin yan, Z.
Yeah, that's actually good to hear, and we're so excited to see yung mga developments na manggagaling dyan. So from water, lumipat naman tayo sa usapang telco naman. Of course, we all know that PLDT Smart is so far the one of the largest, if not the largest telco in the country. However, syempre sabi naman ni President Duterte, he announced it in one of his addresses to the people that he will be after existing telcos if they don't shape up. Because clearly, people are complaining about drop calls, poor servicing, lalo na ang weak internet and data connection. So, ang tanong po dito is, since the president's announcement, has there been changes or improvements so far as in terms of servicing and infrastructure?
That's a very good question, Z. Magandang tanong yan. And to a large measure, we would also like to thank the president for helping both telephone operators, Globe, Smart PLDT, and even the others like DO, because of the president's order, he made sure that the permits required to be able to put up the important cell towers, the number of days or even months are cut down to just a few 2 or 3 weeks tops. So that really helps the telephone operators up the much needed telephone towers, for example. Kaya nagpapasalamat din po kami sa ating Pangulo Duterte dito sa direktibo or directive na ito. Now, when the president gave us directive during the State of the Nation address, the last State of the Nation address he gave, we made sure at PLDT Smart that we accept the president's directive, president's challenge, and make sure that we deliver. And I'm very happy to report that since that time and up to now, a lot of improvements have been made. You don't have to take my word for it. Siyempre po, kung gagali sa akin, tinatawag yan sa law na self-serving. But if you look at the independent audit done by independent audit organizations like UCLA and another Arakamay, I think, if I've got the name correct, you will see that there has been a very marked improvement as far as speed, whether it be fixed or broadband or wireless, in the speed in terms of downloading, and then there has been much increase in terms of the coverage. So definitely from the time that the president gave the directive and up to the present, marami pong improvements na nangyari. And let me just add, kami po naman sa PLDT, we make sure, no, in terms of putting on infrastructure in place for CAPEX alone. There is, I believe, CAPEX could be more than 90 billion. No, so a lot of CAPEX to make sure that all the equipment, all the infrastructure in place. In terms of fiber, we have the longest, close to 500,000 kilometers of fiber that's being built. So, in some, no, kasi I could go on and on and on, no? But in some, let me just say, answering your question again, see that there has been improvement, and we continue to improve to make sure that the experience of the Filipino, especially during these times of the pandemic, wherein most of us work from home, most of us are entertained from home, watching Netflix, Korean telenovelas, and all that, and communicating with our loved ones through social media, to the internet. So we want to make sure that that kind of experience, especially during these times, continue. We know the importance of communication, the importance of government communicating to its people, and of businesses communicating among themselves, especially during this time. Kaya sinisigurado po natin na ang pag-deliver ng mga basic services na yan, kagaya ng telecommunications, ay patuloy at gumagana at gumaganda.
Hopefully, it's not just going to continue. It will still get more improved, because it's not only about having time for themselves, leisure time like Netflix and everything, but mas marami na ngayon mga Pinoy na pumapasok din sila sa e-commerce, sa online businesses, at sana mas magiging innovative din ang mga gagawin. So since you mentioned din yung communication between the government and the Filipino people. How about ang hotline natin sa Office of the President, yung 8888? There are tons of complaints in terms of the connection and in getting to talk to someone there. Although I understand na, syempre, sa sobrang daming complaints siguro, baka isa lang yung hotline tapos konti lang yung mga tao. But are there any changes to be made or plans to improve this?
The 888 hotline indeed is one of the major programs of this administration. No? And lately, we formalized the agreement a few months back, I think, with no less than Executive Secretary Miladea, who is in the forefront of ensuring that our countrymen are able to bring to government's attention any complaint that they have, whether it be in terms of governance, securing permits, or corruption or misgovernance. At least our people have access. And admittedly, there is room for improvement. Aminin natin yan, Z. Na definitely it can be improved. That's why we regularly sit down with the Office of the President to discuss the situation and how best to improve this basic service. Because hindi lang to lip service talaga. This is not just lip service on the part of the Duterte administration. They really wanted to make sure that our people have access to ensure transparency and to ensure that the administration are able to hear directly from its people the things that needed to be addressed. So rest assured that this complaint with respect to access, connectivity will be addressed.
Alam mo si Mike, si Sir Mike, or Attorney Mike as you would have it, a schoolmate ni Congressman Paras dati sa UP College of Law. And I'm very impressed na napakarami niyang competency, no? Very diverse ang reach ng kanyang participation.
Ayun,
At
we're back.
One of the cue cards na nandito sa harap ko ngayon talks about the RFID. Ako pa naman magamit ako sa RFID because I have a residence in Subic, no. So I go back and forth, and I noticed some improvement. I'm going ahead of my story here, Mike. May malaki ng improvement dito. Pero ang interoperability ng AutoSweep sa South at saka Easy Trip sa North, or I may have even gotten it backwards. Ano ang latest dito?
Sorry, but it came garbled. Hindi ko maintindihan yung question. Sorry.
Okay. Ang tinatanong ko, Mike, is yung interoperability between AutoSweep and Easy Trip sa North and South Expressway. Ano na ang latest development dito? Were you able to get it? Regarding the interoperability, interchangeability of the AutoSweep and the Easy Trip.
I think there's a bit of a technical difficulty at this point.
Z, but
Okay.
Question.
Let's while the back studio is trying to do something about the technical problem, ito kasing interoperability ng AutoSweep at saka Easy Trip. Nawala siya there.
Hi,
What
attorney.
Hello,
Can you hear
ayan.
us?
Ayun.
Is that
Be-
better?
See, pakiulit
Better.
lang yung question.
Garbled
Hindi po.
kanina, no? Yeah. What was the, yeah, biglang nag-slow motion yung question. Anyway, yeah, what was the question?
This is better now?
Yes, much better. Yes, please.
Okay.
Okay.
So, go
Speak
ahead,
more.
sir.
Sige.
Yes, it's very good. Yeah.
Sure.
What was being discussed was about the RFID dahil ngayon syempre ang
Oh,
dami-dami may kailangan
mm,
ng RFID
mm,
at na-implement din na kailangan lahat din ng mga kotse naka-RFID na. So one of the things that we wanted to talk about is I'm sure that there are still so many cars that are looking for the RFID and finding easier ways to load it and of course to get a hold of it kasi may long queue pa rin eh, ang dami pa. In order for them to have a
okay.
seamless travel in the tollways. So what's the next step
Yes.
for this?
Yes, in fact, as you know, nagkaroon ng konting aberya a few months back sa Venezuela, no, sa Valenzuela, regarding the RFID. And ito po naayos na namin at nagpapasalamat kami kay Mayor, no, kay Mayor Rex Gatchalian sa kanyang paunawa at sa kanyang tulong kasama na ng mga kasamahan. The RFID issue has been resolved, but having said that, we are still going to make sure that we will be installing cutting edge technology, new technology to even make the experience of our motorists even more convenient. The other matter that we're also working on is what you call interoperability. Para even if so hindi kailangan na marami ka pang tollways na dadaanan. Palagay natin, pupunta ka ng Baguio, ang mas maiging sitwasyon sana is pagpasok ng NLEX, papasok ka doon, RFID, babasahin yung card, na nandun sa kotse mo. Usually nilalagay nila sa may light na yan sa may light ng kotse, no? So pag sana ang next stop mo na sana kung Baguio ka, ideally is yung exit mo na doon sa Tiplex. Doon ka na sisingilin, hindi yung at every point mayroon pang singil kasi that's one of the reasons why there are delays because of the too many tollway stops. That's why interoperability is very important, and that is also being worked out now, being addressed now. We're in all tollway operators, which is essentially for now the two major ones is really the San Miguel Infrastructure Group and our group, the Metro Pacific Tollways Group. That when you pass through the expressways of both concessionaires, it will be seamless. So that is definitely being worked out now.
That's actually really good things, a good news kasi syempre hassle naman talaga para sa motorista na to go from one to the other. In terms of loading as well, will this be easier or kailangan pa may hiwalay pa na loading?
As far as I know, the loading is meron tayong dedicated area for loading. And the loading also is not only done in the areas where the tollway booths are, usually sa may tabi yun, no? But even in other places like in gasoline stations and even in some stores, may arrangement rin po tayo to ensure that our motorists can load at any time. And the good thing about this is that you have to admit that for the longest time, most of our countrymen, kami natin mga babayan, they would rather pay cash. It took a while. It actually took a pandemic. It actually took a directive from no less than the DOTR na nagkaroon ng deadline. There was a deadline given that everything will have to be digital, will have to be contactless to make sure that a lot of our Filipinos will now go into contactless or digital rather than just pay cash. Because for the longest time, Filipinos would rather pay cash.
Yes, that's actually very, very true. But it is a good thing that people are starting to have more acceptance towards contactless transactions. Hopefully, also we can see it becoming easier. Like let's say as easy as load lang bibili lang ng load, di ba? for
Yes.
the phone, it will be that easy na kahit GCash man lang, pwede mo na rin siyang bayaran instead of having to go to a place to pay for
Yes.
your load.
Yes. Exactly.
So thank you so much for that. It's really exciting times that we live in. I mean, as much as the pandemic has brought us a lot of challenges, it has also brought about a lot of solutions. How ironic, no? Especially in terms of being a catalyst to become more innovative in some of our policies.
That's very true. I totally agree with you. Kaya we are aware of that. That is why the MVP group, no, the MVP group of companies, uh, for the past couple of months, our two key operative words were transform and perform. Transform because there is a need to transform to really go full digital in everything that we do and in the services that we give, and to perform because it is very crucial that the key industries of which we are a part of, that they continue to operate to ensure that the Filipino people can get back right away, recover from this pandemic economically, physically, mentally, socially as well. So that is why, in terms of performance, we make sure that the power, electricity continues to be provided undisrupted, and especially powering our hospitals, our COVID centers, our government centers, our offices, our factories, and then water, ensuring that we have continuous supply of water, and our hospitals, of course, making sure that our hospitals are able to provide the much needed services, not only for COVID, because we tend to forget that while COVID is indeed the priority now and it's the one dominating our minds, and rightly so, still the number one killer is not COVID but other kinds of sickness na hindi din dapat natin kalimutan. So tuloy-tuloy po yung mga hospital natin na nagbibigay serbisyo as well. And then yung siyempre yung ating TV5 at Philippine Star to continue providing the news, the information, because we know how important, especially in a pandemic, that the people are well informed. A lot of false news and fake news going on out there. It is the responsibility of the responsible media outlets, like our media outlets, to make sure that the right information is given to all our people so they can make the right choices. Alam naman natin, no? Maraming mga fake news na lumalabas sa internet, sa social media, even in some of the traditional media na napipick up. But we have to make sure that that's part of the responsibility of our group to make sure that information is continuously flowing. Pati na rin yung tollways, movement of cargo and people, very important, especially during this time. So we're making sure that we continue with the maintenance and the rehabilitation in some areas, and even the expansion of new tollways. Kagaya ngayon, yung Kalax natin, nag-extend na tayo hanggang Silang. I think by June, mag-o-open na yan. Kalax is a 47-kilometer project from Cavite to Laguna, and the idea is to connect, if I'm not mistaken, Kawit all the way to Mamplasan in Laguna, and that will really cut down time from 2 hours to like what, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Oo. And pati rin po no, yung matatapos na rin yung Cebu-Cordova Bridge. Yan po ay isa sa mga iconic projects natin, no, na will help ease traffic in Cebu. So this is the Cebu-Cordova Bridge connecting the island of Mactan in Cordova to the city of Cebu, which we know is a bustling city. It's the center of commerce in Central Visayas and all the other islands around that area in the Central Visayas region, Region 7, will definitely benefit from this. So we have so much infrastructure projects on pay now, and hopefully most of them will be finished during the time of President Duterte.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we're running out of time. Marami pong aspeto pa kaming gustong itanong kay Mike, pero maybe by way of bridging, hindi lang sa Cebu, Cordova Bridge, but bridging this interview with our next interview with you sometime in the future. Could you give us some parting shot, Mike?
Okay, salamat. First of all, I would like to thank my good friend, Congressman Jing Paras, for inviting me to this program. As always, Kong Jing or Yusek Jing or Secretary Jing, he has so many titles, never cease to surprise me. And I'm glad to know that he has a program such as this, which is very informative, together with veteran journalists such as you, Ado, and also you, Z, who, by the way, is also looks very good on screen.
Thank you.
I think you should be. I think you should also be a TV talent. Uh, well, my parting shot
She
essentially
is,
would be
she
to thank
is.
all. My parting shot basically will be to thank all of you, and siguro to assure our countrymen, ang ating mga kabayan, na kami po dito sa MVP Group, we will make sure that we continue to deliver the basic services that the Filipino people need, especially during this time of this pandemic. We are aware of the difficulties that each and every one of us are going through because of this pandemic. At kami po yung naniniwala that together we will survive as one. Kagaya ng sinabi namin chairman na si MVP, let us not only survive in this pandemic, but let us thrive and be better people, especially after we've overcome this the ravages of this pandemic. So again, maraming salamat po sa inyo lahat, pati sa ating mga tagapakinig.
Maraming
Thank you so much for
salamat.
having me on the show.
Well, you've just heard, ladies and gentlemen, Attorney Mike Toledo, a man of many talents and many engagements and involvements. And definitely, if you want to hear anything about the build projects of this administration, Mike would always be the authority for that. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. See you. Bye-bye.
See, going on uh, in our past almost 3 to 4 engagements here, where you and your father visited us, you were not even willing to share any drink or any food with us because it was Ramadan. And finally, see, we've got to the point wherein it's Eid Mubarak. Maybe it's my time to ask you, ikaw naman na interviewin ko, give us an idea about this very important landmark, not only in our history, but in the customs and traditions of our Islamic brothers and sisters.
Yes, so for the Muslims, of course, the past month has been all about Ramadan. Everybody was fasting, and when we say fasting, it is abstaining or bawal po talaga uminom at kumain ng kahit ano na drinks or food. Even if you're a smoker, bawal din po mag-smoke. If you have, of course, if you have a wife or a girlfriend, baka gusto niyo mag-sexual relations, pero that's also bawal until after sunset. So mula sunbreak, which is around 4:30 in the morning here sa Pilipinas hanggang 6:30 ng gabi, bawal po lahat. Tubig, pagkain, smoking, sexual relations, lahat po yan. And at the end of Ramadan, we have something called Eid al-Fitr. So Eid is a celebration. And we have two kinds of Eid. We have the major Eid, which is Eid al-Adha. And then we have Eid al-Fitr, which is the celebration of the end of Ramadan. So pagdating ng end of Ramadan, kailangan mag-celebrate po tayo. Ang ginagawa po natin is, well, of course, pre-COVID is we used to visit family and friends. We have to bring food. Parang, if we compare it to a celebration for Christians, it would be parang well, not simbang gabi, but like Christmas, no? Because during Christmas, di ba, pupunta kayo sa family and friends na, and you would bring food with you. Gifts also is being given during Eid, and we usually give money for the children of the family. So, para talagang Christmas para sa Muslim, but we're celebrating the end of Ramadan. Pagdating naman sa Eid al-Adha, which is going to be in a few months, no? Kasi bakit sasabihin ng mga kapatid natin Kristiyano, ano yung difference naman? Bakit dalawa yung Eid natin? Bakit dalawa yung holiday para sa Muslims? Well, yung Eid al-Adha naman, it is a very, very important celebration because it is showing the commitment to God, commitment of the obedience to God. And it's very funny, and very nice to hear, but it's actually a story that everybody is familiar with. I'm sure in the Bible it's talking about how um, Abraham had to uh, was it Abraham? Let me just confirm. It was
Yeah, yeah. So
Abraham who had to
sacrifice.
sacrifice his son, right?
Yeah.
So that story is also in the Quran, and it is being commemorated during Eid al-Adha because it is a symbol of how we should commit and trust God, because He doesn't want something bad to happen to all of us, diba? He's asking you to do certain sacrifices, and you will be rewarded in the end of the day. So that's Eid al-Adha, which is in a few months. But today we are celebrating Eid al-Fitr. So Eid Mubarak. Kung Kristiyano kayo or any other religion, you are more than welcome to greet any Muslim Eid Mubarak kung may friends kayo, or Happy Eid. We would love to even celebrate it with you. Wala naman bawal sa ganyan. And we enjoy it kapag meron din kayong mga tanong about Islam, or if you want to greet us for our Muslim holidays. Lalo na dito sa Pilipinas, because unfortunately kulang talaga yung knowledge among our Christian brothers and sisters regarding Islam. And sometimes nalungkot po ako dahil ang daming mga misconceptions about Muslims na umiikot, especially when I moved here. So sana naman magkakaroon po ng konting interaction pa, because that's how we have more of a dialogue, how we can live peacefully by sharing our culture and sharing our religion without having to criticize one another.
Actually, I got introduced to this. Ewan ko kung pinanganak ka na noon. 1987, when we were recalled by President Cory Aquino from Washington, D.C., kami ni Ambassador Emmanuel Pelaez, to take over the peace talks with our Muslim brothers and also our Cordilleran brothers. And I had this experience, no? Na kasi akong in charge ng lahat ng logistics. So nung pumunta yung delegates ni Nur Miswari to talk to us, hinaus muna namin sila sa Century Park Hotel. And yung secretariat headed by Ali Al-Rashid, my late friend who died 5 years ago, doon sila sa kabila, and we had an adjoining room. Kasi secretariat nila at secretariat ng GRP, ng government panel. So, but we had a adjoining door. Napapansin namin na 5 times, before the Ramadan, 5 times, sasara nila yung pinto. Sinasara nila yung pinto. Sila naman pala, napapansin nila na twice a day, sinasara ko rin yung pinto. Nung una, ito yung mga distaff side ng peace talks. No? Nung una, nagdududa kami sa kanila. Nagdududa naman pala sila sa amin kung ano yung ginagawa namin. Kasi member ako ng Brotherhood of Christian Businessmen and Professionals. So, sinasara ko yung pinto because I have my morning and evening prayers. Sila naman pala, sinasara nila yung pinto because Muslims pray 5 times a day. So, finally, one day, nag-meet kami sa baba, sa restaurant. Nagprangkahan na kami, and we ended up laughing because we were doing exactly the same thing on why we were closing the door, which was to pray. And that really broke the ice. yung animosities, yung unfriendliness, yung reservation, before the time, nawala lahat talaga. And this is really how I would picture how Akbar and God, no, who is one, no, who is one among Muslims and Christians, bring us together, bring us together. And then dumating yung Ramadan, see, no, tuloy ko lang kwento ko. Dumating yung Ramadan, napapansin ko, hindi na sila bumababa para kumain dun sa common place. No? Tapos, at about 4:30 ng umaga, ang ingay doon sa kabila at kalampagan ng mga sounded like plates and kitchenware and all that stuff. Yung pala, that time, and then, sa gabi naman, sa breaking the fast, sa gabi, pagkatapos ng sunset, doon pala sila kumakain and the whole day. Kaya pala medyo mainit ang ulo ng iba. wala silang tubig, wala silang pagkain. But these are the sidelights, no? And that is how I learned the hard way or the easy way, this common tradition of prayer and fasting true to Muslims and true to Christians. So,
Yes.
see, baka pinaganak no, 1987.
But that's a really great experience eh. First hand, nakita mo na wala talagang pinagkaiba sa Muslim and sa Christians. There are very, very, very few na pinagkaiba lang, but it's not that big of a difference to have any type of disagreement or clash. Ang nakikita ko talaga, Sir Ado, na it's really the lack of information and knowledge.
Yeah, yeah.
It's really the lack of the education because ako bilang, syempre galing ako sa Middle East, doon ako nag-aral, right? People would think I only know about Islam but not about Christianity. Samantalang, we learn about all religions, even Buddhism and Hinduism, everything. Kasi syempre pag meron tayong mamimit, kailangan may respeto sa kanilang mga practices and beliefs. So pagdating ko dito, I actually had the highest grade in Filipino Christian living. Tapos lagi nilang inaasar, lagi inaasar yung teacher ko, inaasar niya yung mga kaklase ko kasi sabi niya, hindi pa kayo nahiya, ang Muslim pa ang may pinakamataas sa Christian living, sa Christian studies, samantalang kayo hindi. I told them the reason why I have these grades is because the stories that you are sharing are the same as the stories that are being told to us. We have the same stories, the same prophets, the same everything. Mother Mary, lahat yan. There are just a few things that are different, but I understand your side. Pero sa kanila, ni isa sa kanila pwedeng magsabi ng kahit anong details about Muslims. So I feel like it's a lost opportunity dahil maraming mga kapatid natin na OFWs na umaalis. Syempre, they go to the Middle East. We have more than 2 million Filipinos in the Middle East already, and they're staying there for years. And doon nagkakaroon ng miscommunication dahil umpisa pa lang hindi naiintindihan din ng Pilipino kung ano yung Muslim. Parang may prejudgment na sila agad bago sila pumunta doon. So we can eliminate it by having educational dialogue about all religions, not just about Islam.
Well, that's how I had the baptism at the start. But towards the end of the peace talks, we were invited by Chairman Nur Miswari to Maimbong Sulu. At doon kami, nagpunta talaga kami doon. Nakakatuwa nga kasi 15 minutes after you leave Hulo, aba, iba na ang flag. Itong hindi naiintindihan ng maraming taga Maynila. Iba na ang flag. No? The flags of the Philippines, even beyond, were still flying on the public schools, no? Mga public schools. But ang ginagamit ng mga tao doon na flag was already the flag of the MNLF. Now, nung nagpipistok sila doon sa loob ng isang malaking kubol, hindi na ako sumasama kasi kulang ako sa tulog, and I would just stay outside of the hut and bring my Bible. And since matagal hours yan, naghihintay ka habang nag-uusap sila sa loob, nagbabasa ako. Yung pala, inoobserbahan ako ng mga elders nila. And after about mga 2-3 hours, may isang lumapit sa akin, may dala ring libro. May dala ring libro. Ang sabi niya, Ado, sabi gano'n, ano yan ginagawa mo? Sabi, anong binabasa mo? Sabi, ako nagbabasa ng Bible, sabi ko. Kasi ito, practicing Christian ako eh. Kung kayo may mga practicing Muslims, ako practicing Christian. So, pag wala akong ginagawa na ito, para hindi lumipad ang isip ko, sabi ko, so that my mind won't fly, I would read. And every time I read the Bible, there is always an inspiring part that opens up. So binuksan niya ngayon yung hawak ng libro. Sabi alam mo ba kung ano ito? Oo, sabi ko, Quran. Yan din yung pinaka-book ninyo, and we are men of the book. Hindi po ba? Sabi ko gano'n. So ano yung binabasa mo dyan? Sabi niya gano'n. I was in the part of the Annunciation, no? Doon sa New Testament. Sabi niya, si Mariam, sabi niya, may chapter kami dyan kay Mariam. Binuksan niya sa chapter 9 niya tayo, no? And then we started discussing, and before I knew it, hours na pala nakanoan. There is really a lot of commonality, not just in our ways as Filipinos, but our ways as men and women of the book. And that's what I found out. And that, by the way, this dialogue that I have with brother and sister Muslims are going on. No, I am in close touch with Abe Jarani, no, and Dayang, and we are almost every month meeting kami, and we discuss these things about politics from both the spiritual as well as the political perspectives, and we learn a lot. We learn a lot.
It's really good that there is an avenue for you to have an open dialogue, kasi that's what we really need. And because you mentioned that there's so many commonalities even in the books itself, I just want to mention na sa lahat ng nanonood ngayon and are interested to see how many commonalities there are, you can go ahead and follow Dr. Craig Considine. He's in the States, and he's a scholar, global speaker, media contributor, and public intellectual at Rice University, and has authored many, many books and articles on Christian-Muslim relations. He can tell you that almost anything that was discussed in the Bible, you can also find an equivalent in the Quran. So that's how what you said, we are people of the book. There is no difference between you and I except for some of the practices. And even in Islam, I don't know if you know this, but in Islam, if you do not believe in the Bible or the Torah, if you do not believe that Christians and Jews are your brothers or your cousins man lang, then you are not truly Muslim. Because it is required of you to believe in all of the books of God. And for all of the Christians out there, Arabs, whether they are Christian or Muslim, they call God as Allah, because Allah is the Arabic translation of God.
Yeah, and that is really something. And alam po ba ninyo, mga kapatid na Kristiyano na nakikinig ngayon, na ang prayer nila sa 6 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken, no, yung oras, no, is a prayer to Isa. Alam niyo ba kung sino si Isa? Si Jesus Christ, mga kabansa. Kaya alam niyo, mag-aral kayo para maging maalam. Ha?
Mm-mm.
At para maging isa na talaga ang ating bansa. Z, I'm very involved in with our Muslim brothers, especially with the Sultanate of Sulu. And I'm guiding them in their discussions regarding the Sabah issue, specifically with Sultan Pugdalun Kiram II. And this is a continuing thing that I'm encouraging, especially the academe ng bayan na ito, to really dig deep into this. When I went to China, Z, when I was invited for the first time, one of the cities that we were taken to was Dezhou City in Shandong province. And since biglaan, yung pagsama ko doon, dahil masyado kong maraming ginagawa, hindi ko nabasa yung mga primer, yung mga briefings, no? Even sa aeroplano. So pagdating sa Shandong, nagulat ako na ang pupuntahan pala namin ay yung burial ground, no, ni Sultan Paduka Batara. And Sultan Paduka Batara pala was the most valued friend of the Emperor of China in the year 1400s, for which the Sultanate of Sulu, which was the Philippines then, no, signed a treaty of tributary independent states. We were considered by China as an independent state, but tributary to China because we were under the protectorate of China. Now, Sultan Paduka Batara was collecting taxes, no, tributes, and was participating doon sa yung tinatawag nila ngayon na Silk Road. Na tinatawag nilang Belt and Road Initiative ngayon, but it was the old Silk Road before. China would provide tea, porcelain, and ano pa yung isa? Tea, porcelain, and silk, no? Because it was a silk trade. Tayo naman would supply from Java through the Sultanate spice, dadali natin sa Amoy, China, and they would bring it to the west, no? And that's why in 1417, Sultan Paduka Batara went to Beijing to pay a state visit to Emperor Yongle. But on the way back, namatay si Sultan Paduka Batara. And you know what? Emperor Yongle gave him an 8-hectare burial ground in Shandong province of China, the only foreign head of state that has that kind of an honor in China. So, mga kabansa, binabanggit ko ito because if you want to go to Shandong, you can find out for yourself this great heritage that we even share with this big country now, no? But among us, Christians and Muslims, we should never really have anything in between us because we are one people and we are one culture, sharing the same value, sharing virtually the same faith, just from different perspectives. No? So, ewan ko, may oras pa tayo, napakwento ako, but perhaps, you can maybe, I don't know. Okay, we still have some more minutes.
We have a few more minutes, I think around 5 to 6 minutes, but definitely all of these stories are such a great, maybe we'll even have a separate segment or a separate show, 1-hour show to really talk about all of these things. But this episode in particular was, I think, very diverse because we were able to talk about so many things like the telco situation, water, RFID, even the infrastructure or the build program, and we had a short update on the Cebu Cordoba Bridge, and then we were able to talk about Ramadan a little bit and Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha. So it's really great to see that we can grow with this program. Syempre, pag kapehan, di ba? Ganito talaga yung usapan natin. May konting,
Coffee
may
Klatch.
konting politics, konting para sa gobyerno. It's really nice to have this, especially early in the morning. So we hope that you can have your cup of coffee every Saturday with us dito sa Coffee Klatch.
Okay. This is truly an interesting and informative discussion with Mike Toledo and our beauty and brain, Cecil Dua. And as usual, we come to a close, but it was really a pleasure having you in this program. And we hope to have you again next Saturday. Be with us. And we have a long list of guests, and our next will surely have all of you glued to this channel. Meron po kami hinahabol na bagong appointed na mga malaking official, pero hindi namin nabutan. But we hope to catch up with them and a few more in the next Saturdays. Indeed, that was one interesting coffee talk. People, we hope you'll oblige, as we say, your favorite coffee brew with your favorite discussion for the day. Z, your last words for this morning.
Yes, I just want to greet all of the Muslim brothers and sisters in the Philippines and all over the world. Happy Eid or Eid Mubarak. And we hope that everybody is staying safe again in the comforts of their own homes and finding ways to thrive, because that is the theme for today, thriving. No longer just learning more about the troubles of COVID, but finding ways to become better. So please make sure that you continue to follow Sovereign PH and watch it on Sovereign PH TV in 911 or 911. And announcements will be posted on our social media platforms. And I think we'll get to see you again next week. This is Z Saldua, and of course, Sir Jing, wherever you are, or Congressman Jing, our third host, wherever you are. We hope that you can join us this time next week as well.
On behalf of our partner, Jing Paras and Cecil Dua, thank you, mga kabansa, for joining us in this hour of sharing coffee with us. Coffee Klatch. Until next week, same time, same channel.